Alright, so hello, my name is Mike. Today I'm working in my 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I have a blend door issue. Basically what's happening is no matter what I have the passenger side temperature set to, it is always just blowing cold. In the summertime that's perfectly fine, but in the wintertime it's pretty awful for whoever's in the passenger seat, and even being the driver, I can still tell that that it's not very warm in here because I got one side that's just blowing freezing cold. Instructions that come with your repair kit from blenddoorrepair.com are pretty good. So this video is really just a supplement to the instructions. So read through that for sure before you even start, but also refer back to it through the process because it's going to help you with some little tips. So like first thing here it says Torx 20, so at least then you even know what tool you're looking for. Okay, so the kit comes with your instructions, comes with a drill bit, and then the actual part that's going to fix it. The part itself I think is like around 15 bucks, and it's got that threaded into it. If you want the actual kit though with all the instructions and the how-to, then that's like $24.95. And based on the other options that I had seen, this was obviously the cheapest and simplest thing to try. So I decided to try the cheapest and simplest thing first. Starting out, what we're going to do is go through the glove box and then through the side panel here to get to the blend door actuator. Okay, so step one is going to be getting all the crap out of the way. And now what we're going to do is get rid of the lid here. We got to get that out of the way because what we're going after is back here behind this. So first thing, we got to get this little support arm disconnected from the other side. You can kind of see it. It's a slotted hole. Once you get it loose, so yeah, it slides forward just like that, and then you can pull it out from the back. This is what we got on the other side. There you go. Get a good look at it, and then it's just gonna kind of hang loose just like that. All right, next step here is we got this guy right here. This guy right here has to come loose, and all we're gonna do is kind of just pull it down with our finger, and so you can see it's just past the edge right there. Got the same thing right here on this side, and again, this is why you wear gloves, because it's just plastic, but it's sharp and it freaking hurts. All right, so now we're hanging down. It's still hooked on, so we're going to pull it loose. You've got a hinge here and a hinge over here on this side. This whole thing, you can kind of see there's a slot right here. This whole thing will slide out towards the passenger seat. So we're going to grab onto it and just pull it straight out. So just going to give it a tug. Pops loose. Be careful when you're pulling it because obviously it's plastic. You don't want to break anything. Okay, so we've got the glove box out of the way. The next thing that I got to do is get this thing out of the way. My blend door actuator is actually right behind it there. Okay, so this is actually one of those moments when I had to take my gloves off because I can't. They're a little too restrictive. So just has these little tabs. This thing just pulls off nice and easy like that. Here's your other little clip right down here. It's right here, so I gotta pull it that way. There we go. So it just popped off, and it's dangling by a wire there. So we're gonna leave that there. I think it's far enough out of the way that it shouldn't bother us. So now this thing just got these little clips right here and here. You're gonna pull them this way just a little bit, because again, this is a 12-year-old vehicle, so plastic breaks easily. Well, it breaks easily all the time. Okay, so there's another clip on the back side that you can't see. So there's two here and then one on the back side. So I'm gonna reach back behind it and just kind of try and peel that back one off. And it's kind of a pain because they're all fighting each other. It's an extra pain because I'm trying to film it. Alright, so we got that. So you kind of have to pry and push at the same time to get these things all to go. There we go. That's out. Now, here's our blend door actuator motor. Got 2 Torx screws that it's going to come out. So one on the upper left, one right here, and then we'll pull that off. Now, I already know that it's not the actuator. If it was, I'd be disconnecting the battery, unplugging that, and pulling that part out, but I know that's not it. So I'm going to get my Torx bit, and we'll get that one out of the way, and we'll see what's behind it. Alright, so now armed with my T20 Torx bit, just get in here and kind of get these guys. It's kind of a stretch. I almost need a universal joint to get that, but it still works. Alright, then I'll get the one up there, I'll pull this thing out, and we'll be all set. So you gotta be real careful too, don't drop these screws down in there, because that's like, let me back up. This down here is like the bottomless pit. If you drop something down there, it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get it out. You might get lucky and it'll drop out right here, but it might slide behind the carpet, and then you just lost it. So that's it right there. Right, this is good. Alright, so I've got my finger on it. Basically, I'm going to hold it into the Torx bit so that I can pull it out. There we go, nice and easy. Alright, now we're going to get the top one up here. Now normally yours won't just flop loose like that, but because yours should be connected to a bracket or something behind the gear behind it. Unless yours is just broken all to pieces, then it might do this. So again, hold that screw so you don't drop it back behind there. Go slowly. Okay, so here's the actuator dangling. Here is the new piece. You can see the patterns to the gear here matches the pattern of the gear here, and it should just slide nicely over that. That's great. Now you can also see this right here is your stop. So this thing should, when it gets oriented correctly, it'll drop all the way down. When it rotates, it'll rotate and hit that stop, and then when it comes back the other way, it'll rotate and hit that stop. That making sense? Rotate, hit that stop, rotate, hit that stop. Okay? Alright, but you can also see that white stop there is all broken to bits. Heck is it? There. Yeah, you can see that it's in, here we go. Alright, this is it right here. Not a real good video here. But it looks like mine's all broken to pieces. So now what I'm going to try to do is take a Dremel tool. This has the extension on the Dremel. So anyway, we're going to take a cutoff wheel and just basically try and slice that thing off nice and flat and make it easier to drill into. And we don't want to like shave it off flush with the case. We basically want to leave about 1/8 of an inch sticking out, and this is per the instructions that came from blenddoorrepair.com. Okay, so what we're left then with now is this is fairly smooth. It's not perfectly flat the way I would prefer it, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. So now what we're going to try and do is drill a hole straight down the center of that. And we only want to go about 1 inch deep, so I will set up the drill to be able to do that. Okay, so something that I'm also doing, I'm going to step up the drill. The kit from blenddoorrepair.com comes with a drill bit. It comes with everything you need, but one of the things that it says is that to do this repair when the plastic is 50 degrees or warmer. It's kind of cold outside where I am, so the plastic being 10 plus years old and being probably too cold outside to be doing this means that plastic's going to be really brittle. So I'm going to start with a smaller diameter bit and and do my best and try to ease through this plastic. I don't want to break it. So I got it in. Drill bit is basically sticking out a little over an inch out of the drill. And we're gonna, if something a little, well, this isn't too bad. Anyway, I'm gonna try and go right down the center of that, and then we'll step it up to a bigger bit. So you can see what I'm trying to do. You want to do your best to hold it straight with the shaft, which is, it's going to be difficult to tell what straight is, but you're going to have to use your best judgment and try and put it right down the center. Alright, so hopefully that's not too out of focus, but again, put the drill bit right as best you can tell in the center of that. And try to go straight down the shaft. I'm going to start off nice and slow to get it started. If I just hit it quick, it's going to slip off and screw it up. Okay, so that was something else that he had talked about in the instructions. You'll drill about an inch in, and then you're going to punch through. It said don't go farther. Once it busts through that first time, you're done. You don't have to go any farther. Alright, so there you can see after my first drill, I got a hole that looks like it's fairly centered. Maybe not perfect, but not terrible. And again, that's a smaller hole than I need. I'm going to step it up. You might not have to step it up. If you've got warm temperatures, then probably not. But like I said, it's cold here, so I'm trying to go nice and easy with this. I've already got my pilot hole. And I'm going to just step it up a little more. Again, trying to keep the drill nice and straight. So I'm going in a little over an inch. Taking it nice and easy. Punch through. So yeah, it's not super deep, just a little over an inch. Alright, there we go. Now you get a good shot of it there. Alright, so I've got the final drill bit that this one came with the repair kit. It's nice and long, so you can stay the heck out of the way. So here we go. To touch. Okay, here's the part. I'm just going to thread it in nice and easy, and it should just track nice and straight with the hole. Remember, don't drop it. This is a big enough part that you probably won't lose it, but it'll be a pain to get it out of the hole. And it's pretty stiff. Say mine's okay. Something that I'm trying, because that trying to thread that thing in by hand is actually quite painful. So it so happens that it looks like a 3/8 drive will fit it. I would recommend being super careful doing this, because if it's super tight, hard turn by hand, that means you're probably borderline of breaking it when you put a tool on it. So go super slow and easy. And if it doesn't work, you will never see this video. Okay, I think I'm there. I'll back this thing out. Okay, don't jam it in there, so that way you can actually get it out. There we go. So it still feels like it's doing what it's supposed to do. So now we will work on getting this thing put back. Okay, so what we'll do. Alright, so it looks like when this thing is mounted on there, the flat looks like it's about roughly 180 degrees out to me. Okay, so I've got the ignition on. What I'm doing now is trying to figure out which way this thing moves. So I'm turning it to make it cold. Wow, Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't know because it's trying to self-calibrate. Alright, so that's actually not far from where I would want it. Maybe we'll just adjust this thing to match. Okay, so I'm turning it back hot, getting it to move a little bit. And so let's put this back right, that was like that. So it's roughly, so remember this thing flips over. That's not too far off right now. When I flip that over, it's going to get pretty close to matching up to what's there. So hopefully you saw that. Okay, so it just slid on, and what I can see is it. So looking again, these holes right here need to line up. So this hole, this hole. I'm going to turn the temperature thing until it lines up. It's like it's caught on something. Don't get too crazy with it. Go nice and slow, right? That's all I got. Oops. Hold on. I don't like that. That's not what I wanted to do. Maybe this is a bad idea. Remember, because it wants to calibrate, right? So, it's trying to. All right. Well, what I'm going to do then is the actual instructions tell you to back it off a little bit instead of doing it the way I'm doing it. So, start from scratch. Okay. So. What I'm going to do, the instructions said thread it in all the way and then back it off just a little bit, or back it off if you need to get back to where you want to be. So we're going to try that. Where's this? In the yard. No. Alright, something we need to pay attention to is the automatic stop. So I think what's fighting me right now is this stop needs to be almost 90 degrees off of where it is. Yeah, that's what's getting me. Can't get that thing on right, so I'm going to turn this thing until it's going to stop fighting me. Alright, this is what we're going for. See the flat right here? Kind of needs to be parallel to the flat on the stop right here. Hopefully that'll go on now. We'll try and get that back in there. And kind of tip it up and see. I can kind of see. Well, you guys probably can't see anything. What's going on? That dumb thing, get in there. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay, so that fits on there nicely. I'm going to put the screws back in and see what we got. Anyway, moral of the story there is you're going to have to play with that. I've got power to it so I can move it around and adjust it. And if you play around with it at the dash, right, the temperature setting is how you turn that motor. Eventually you can get it lined up so that it'll go on, it'll slide onto the new part, and the holes for the screws are going to line up. Remember, you got the one that pins up here. This is just a pin that you slide over. You're going to screw in here, screw in here, and screw in down on the bottom corner as well, like right here. Okay, so we're going to do the bottom screw first. That's what you can see on the camera. Remember, hold it onto the screwdriver with your finger. Otherwise you'll drop it down the hole and be hosed. Sorry about lighting. This is like the worst thing to try and film. And I like to turn it to the left until I find the threads line up and it drops in. Alright, I'm not going to screw it down tight. Just going to make sure that it's threading and started. Alright, I hold on to my bit too, because that'll be the next thing that falls off and goes down the hole. Alright, and I don't know if you can see the top. I just showed it to you. It's right here, holding the screw and the bit. Turn it to the left till it remember, don't screw it on super tight. End up breaking it. I'm going to screw it down enough so that it's not going to move. I don't like it, but it's not terrible. Okay, go a little tighter. Okay, that's much better. That's nice. It doesn't wiggle too much. Alright. So I'm going to turn power off. Okay, so one last thing we were talking about, we could hear this thing kind of binding, hear the motor binding as I was adjusting the temperature knob right there. I decided to stop screwing around with it and just went online and looked up a video on blend door replacement, and actually more specifically blend door calibration. And I found a nice video that said, hey, disconnect your negative cable on the battery. Which I would have done if I was replacing the motor, because I would have had to unplug it. But anyway, so I went ahead and did that. We're about to give it a shot and see if it sounds better. So come on here, and I'm not hearing anything. Am I all the way on? There we go. There we go. Okay, and I like to. A lot of times when you can't hear something, you can feel it. Oh, I just moved. Okay, so a little bit of fiddling around with the battery cable, and then also I pulled that thing off one more time, and basically with power on to the motor, I turned it full cold, watched which way the motor was turning, and found out where it stopped when it's at full cold. Then and the motor's not on, right? So then I manually took the gear and turned it all the way corresponding to full cold. And so I found out where that was, and then I screwed the gear in a little farther so that it would match, the flat would be the same place that the motor had it, and I put it back on. And now it works nice. I go full hot and I can hear it spinning all the way around, and I can hear it hit the stop at the same time that the motor starts binding, so it's kind of good. Pretty dang close. Worst case, you can take it to the dealer and they should be able to calibrate the motor fairly cheaply. It's a whole lot cheaper to just calibrate it than to put a whole thing in. Alright, so now I'm going to start putting everything back together. One thing that I'll also mention is this is the little damper, the little support arm that was up over on this side. We took that off in the beginning, and while I was messing around, it actually connects to this metal piece right here. Anyway, while I was messing around with this whole thing, I ended up snapping it off and broke this piece off right here. Okay. Looks like there were 4. Earlier at the beginning I said there were 3 pieces. There are actually 4. So, and I had that other piece that we started with was just tucked up. I tucked it up there to get it the heck out of the way. And that just pushes on. Again, be careful with it because it's old plastic. Old plastic likes to break. You can see this thing's flexing quite a bit. More than I like to flex old plastic. Okay, good. Nice. It's in there nice. Now, get this piece back up in here. Okay, and so yeah, you can see how that's got to slide over that little metal shaft. I can see the clean spot on the shaft, so I know where it's supposed to go. It sounded like I just broke it again though. We'll see. Whatever. We'll see if that doesn't end up working. That's all right. That'll be a cheap one to fix or to correct later. Okay, and you can see the slot on that. And there's this thing. Let me get this side. Okay. Okay, that side in. And then this side up, and then we're gonna push it down. There we go. Clunk, clunk. And now this stuff should just go up nice and easy. So make sure you get this out. Get this pulled down. Otherwise it's gonna be up in there and trapped in there. So that's hanging down. We're gonna push past. You got this little stop right here, and then the one over on this side. We can kind of just pull the plastic out to let it slip by. And then we're up. And then we're gonna take this side. Remember, just in like that, and then kind of push it to the back. It hurts, of course. I think that thing just broke off. Yeah, it broke off. Well, hopefully that won't happen to you. Be careful if it does. It's an easy part to replace. And we're basically done. Put all that crap back in there, we should be good to go.